morning. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to CSL Dallas, a Center for Spiritual Living. Oh my gosh, we're so grateful that you're here with us at our first Sunday celebration of 2021. And it is live, officially live on Facebook and YouTube channel. So tell your friends and family about it. Wow, what a year. We have a phenomenal theme for this entire year. Peter's going to tell you all about it. That is truly something to anchor us all year round and ensuring that we live our best life imaginable. So, here at CSL Dallas, our purpose is to be radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, and transforming lives. And we are glad that you are here to transform your lives. So, a few things. This is the start of the year, which means it is the start of classes. This is the way that you are guaranteed and assured that you transform your life. I was reading a profound book of Ernest Holmes over the holidays, and one of the things is if you have a good belief, you've got to grow and get a greater belief. And this is the way to do this. So, speaking of classes, I'm just going to tell you what is up in the month of January for you to ensure that you're in a class. We have Ernest Holmes' Life and Times taught by Dr. Petra that starts January 14th. I am teaching a brand new class that's being offered through Centers for Spiritual Living. I'm so excited about it. It's called The Law of Mental Equivalence: How to Manifest More of the Life You Desire. Then Carol Merlot is teaching visioning. This is a great way to start your life, being open to what is envisioned for your life. Then we have a workshop. So it's not a class, it's a workshop that you can hop in. It's a one-day workshop, meditation, getting started, going deeper with Dr. Petra. And if that wasn't enough, and especially for you, if you are brand new to science of mind and want to know what is this thing called science of mind and new thought, we have a brand new class and it's called Keys to Expanding Consciousness. And that's at the end of the month, taught by our beloved Reverend Patty and BB Gafor, our new practitioner. So, a lot of classes. Go to our website, csldallas.org, get all the details and register. They are all online. So, no matter where you are, you can be with us in classes. And this is also the time where we invite you to open up the givingness of life itself and allow it to flow through and as you. This is how we get to do all of this as a community and transform lives. So there are many ways that you can give. You can text give. The number is available to you. You can go to our website, csldallas/give. You can give securely either through our in fellowship process or PayPal. You get to choose. So there's many ways that you can give, and you can give right here on Facebook if you're live on Facebook with us. So give and give generously. And now I'm so grateful that we get to continue in this sacred music and igniting our life for this year.
Loving Spirit dwells in me. This is my divinity. As within, so without.
Loving Spirit dwells in me. This is my divinity. This is my truth. The reality of life itself is all that there is. That Spirit, that God, whatever we choose to point to it, that pointing can never encompass all that it is, for it is the boundless, endless, nameless, timeless, changeless power and presence of all the seen and unseen. It is that causality from which everything emerges from and returns to, for there's nowhere to go, only here and now. And it's in this recognition, this awareness within each of us, but it's in my awareness right now, in this awareness of this boundless love, this infinite power and presence, this creative force, this abundance that is so swimming as divine oceanic substance everywhere there is. There is no thing outside of it. It is the great cause of everything. And knowing this, I know that I am that I am. I know this to be me. So within, so without. I'm not left out of it. It is the through point, me, in which this infinite power shows up. And as I know that this is the truth and the reality of my life, I know this for every single person. And the sound of this voice in any timeless, nameless place. We are this individualized expression that chose us to show up right here and right now is each of us. And as we realize that there's not two things going on, there's only one, that the Father and I, the Mother, the Spirit, Mother, Father, God, and I are one. And drop the two. We rise. We rise as the Spirit. We rise as this God. We rise as this power and this presence. And it does not matter what condition, what situation, what circumstance, what pandemic, what overworked situation where our healthcare workers are just seemingly drowning. We rise above. We rise above this water. We lift ourselves up. We look to a new day. We know it must come. And together we rise. And we rise collectively. And if by chance one as me or you knows this so well, we get to lift everyone up, because as one rises, it must all rise. And so together we rise knowing that Spirit does the work. Therefore, I declare we can let the weight of the world off our shoulders and see the joy and the glory of what's before us. And we bring that forth together as this community, as CSL Dallas, anyone that is connected in any shape, form, or fashion, we rise this up. Right here and right now. I release these words. I let them loose, for I am above the conditions, the averages, the circumstances of life. I am spirit incarnate, as is each of us right here, right now. Together, we rise in 2021. And so it is.
Loving Spirit dwells in us. This is our divinity. As within, so without. All we need is here and now. Where there's there, let us love. May we have no fear. All the power, all the glory, we surrender, let it be. Loving Spirit dwells in us, now and evermore.
Here we go now. You don't have to be still no more. Come on. I feel the Spirit all over me. I feel the Spirit all over me. It's in my hands and my soul, down in my feet. Oh, I feel the Spirit all over me. Yeah, I feel the Spirit all over me. I feel the Spirit all over me. It's in my hands and my soul, down in my feet. I feel the Spirit all over me. Come on, girl.
I feel the presence all over me. I feel the presence all over me. It's in my hands and my soul, down in my feet. I feel the presence all over me.
I feel the presence all over me. I feel the presence all over me. It's in my hands and my soul, down in my feet. I feel the presence all over me. Moving, 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 down in my soul. I feel the glory all over me. I feel the glory all over me. Down in my feet, I feel the glory all over me. I feel the glory all over me. I feel the glory all over me. It's in my hands and my soul, down in my feet. I feel the glory all over me. I feel the power all over me. I feel the power all over me. It's in my head, it's in my toes, in my feet. I feel the power all over me. Yeah. I feel the power all over me. Can't you feel the power? I feel the power all over me. It's in my head, in my soul, down in my feet. I feel the power all over me. It's moving, yeah, yeah. It's moving all around. Moving, 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 up and down all around. Yeah, yeah. Moving,
Oscar, Lainey, and Candy, thank you so much. I feel the power. I feel the power. And what a fabulous thing it is to affirm that we feel the power even when we don't. Yeah, 2021 was a lot of not so much feeling the power, wasn't it? Ooh, man. But we have turned the page. Even if it hasn't been turned out there, we get to decide to turn the page in here and in here. January, the beginning of January, I was going to say the first. Well, it's not quite the first, but the beginning of January 2021. And how grateful we are to be able to say we choose to turn a page. The wise master Jesus taught that the knowledge of truth makes us free. No matter what the negations of yesterday may have been, the affirmations of today rise triumphant and transcendent over them. Thus, all the evils of our yesterdays disappear into their native nothingness. Oh, Karen really got me with that prayer. Right? Yep. When we, I can't read my notes. I need Kleenex. Okay. Thank you, Oscar. Goodness gracious. When we behold beauty instead of ugliness, then beauty appears. When we persist in seeing the true rather than the false, then that which is true appears. Let us then cease weeping over the shortcomings and mistakes and evils of our yesterdays, and steadfastly beholding the face of the great and divine reality, let us resolve to walk in the light where there is no darkness. Oh, man. And there's been a lot of darkness for a lot of people. And yeah, we're not out of the woods yet. But we can decide how it is we are going to engage every day. Every day we get to decide that. And, there's been a lot of talk about 2020 and how grateful we are that 2020 is over and how much we want to put behind us. And so when our staff got together and talked about what is 2021 all about, we were like, well, it's not about that anymore. It's not about that anymore. And so we spent a lot of time talking about what is it that we need? What is it that we need in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of being worn down by the situation and circumstances? What is it that we need? And what we need is a steadfast belief and a conviction that there is something upon which we can rely that allows us not just to endure, but to actually thrive, to find our way through to a new beginning and a life that is meaningful and on purpose. How do we do that? We do that together. How do we do that? We do that by rising in spirit. How do we do that? We do that by living our spiritual principles so deeply and profoundly that nothing shakes them. And when our soul feels shaken and our heart is bruised and our mind is uncertain, we have something on which to rely. So we had quite the conversation about it. And what we kept coming back to was the image of the phoenix. The image of the phoenix. And we kept talking about, well, we're going to rise from the ashes. We're going to rise from the ashes. But some of us haven't been in the ashes. Some of us have used this time for growth and for good. And for others, yeah, that's what it's felt like. Together we rise. So we decided that that's what we would do this year. This year, together, we would rise. We would rise together, like the phoenix. But we did a lot of research then about the phoenix. And, it's one of the most powerful symbols from ancient mythology that is still being used today. Many old symbols are gone and we don't really recognize them, but the phoenix has lived on. So, let me tell you a little bit about this majestic bird like creature that originally lived in paradise, red and gold with brilliant eyes, and always depicted as huge. We find images of the phoenix in the Greek, Egyptian, Native American, Indian, and at least one other culture that I can no longer remember. The phoenix, like all the creatures who live in paradise, was known to live a good life. It was a bird of unimaginable perfection and beauty, and was said to exist somewhere beyond the brilliance of the sun. However, in time, the bird began to feel the effects of its age, and after 1,000 years had passed, it was ready to move on. As the phoenix was known to live in paradise, it was also known that it could never truly die. However, it was possible for the creature to be reborn. As such, this is what happened in order for the phoenix to be born again. First, the phoenix flew west into the mortal world. It was necessary to come to leave paradise and enter our world so that the creature could be reborn. It flew west until it reached the spice groves that grew in Arabia. It stopped there to collect the finest herbs and spices until it finished its journey in Phoenicia. Once the phoenix reached Phoenicia, it built a nest of these herbs and spices and waited for the sun to rise. The next morning, when the sun god began to drag his chariot across the sky, the phoenix would turn east to face Apollo as the sun rose above the horizon. It would then sing one of the most beautiful and haunting melodies known to man, so perfect that even the sun god had to pause and listen to the sweet notes. When the phoenix finished its farewell song, the sun god readied his chariots and continued his journey across the sky. This caused a spark to fall from the sky and ignite the nest of herbs and the phoenix into flames. All that was left was a tiny egg. In 3 days, that egg hatched and the phoenix was reborn. I want you to notice some of the words in this story. An immortal, huge, beautiful, brilliant being. A being that knows it cannot die until it incarnates, flies into our mortal world, the human condition, singing a beautiful song, expressing itself, and bursting into flames, releasing the outer form to be reborn. The phoenix was considered good luck in many cultures. It was good luck to see a phoenix. It was considered to signify that a good leader who was very wise had been given ruling power. It was considered to be the sign of a new era. Together we rise. We have this beautiful image. Together we rise. Richard, I don't know if you can see it. This is our beautiful image. You'll find it on our website, csldallas.org. Ryan made this gorgeous image for us of the phoenix. Our beautiful Sacred Space team made us a gorgeous altar. Together we rise, claiming the good luck for all of us. Claiming that it signifies that we are the wise leaders of our own lives and that we have been given ruling power over our lives, and that it is the sign of a new era for each and every one of us. The phoenix was also known to have regenerative powers and was considered to be both invincible and immortal. Remember, the phoenix is the one that comes from paradise and comes to our world just as we do. The phoenix is known as a symbol of fire and divinity, and the tears have been known to have regenerative abilities that can be harnessed by us. Interestingly enough, the new mythology that surrounds the phoenix claims that it is impossible for a person to tell a lie if the creature is nearby. So many symbols and ideas that remind us of the spiritual truth of who we are. That regardless of how aged we feel, how worn down we feel, how over the pandemic we are, how ready we are to be done with the situations, there is that within us that is immortal, deathless, and changeless, and that is continually invited to be reborn. Now, those of you who, like myself and my son, are Harry Potter fans, you may remember the scene in the Chamber of Secrets. Actually, it's two scenes in the Chamber of Secrets. It's book number 2, and Dumbledore is talking to Harry Potter, Albus Dumbledore, the headmaster of Hogwarts, and he reminds Harry that he says, help will always be given to those who ask for it, those who deserve it, which is understood to mean those who seek to do good. Now, Harry Potter finds himself in the Chamber of Secrets, faced with the evil incarnate, Lord Voldemort, as a young schoolboy, and with the fearful basilisk, which kills with its eyes. And he is overwhelmed and overpowered and has lost his wand. And he doesn't know what else to do. But he's accused by Lord Voldemort of being Dumbledore's man. And Harry Potter says, you bet I am. I am Dumbledore's man through and through. And in that moment, Fawkes, the phoenix, appears out of nowhere, flies into the Chamber of Secrets, and drops the sorting hat, from which Harry pulls the Gryffindor sword, slays the basilisk, defeats Lord Voldemort in that moment. And afterwards, in discussing this with Dumbledore, Dumbledore said, you must have shown me real loyalty down in the chamber. Nothing but that could have called Fawkes, the phoenix, to you. Nothing but our loyalty to the spiritual truth, to the deep and profound belief in who we truly are and what is truly possible when we remember who we are, when we remember the spiritual truths and principles. Nothing but profound loyalty to these ideas and principles. When we exhibit that, all help is given. All help is there. It is always already given. So our task this year is to live the loyalty to our spiritual principles, to our spiritual truth, to who we are, and to work for that good. To work for the good of love as the causal reality, rather than continuing in the condition of fear. Reverend Patty found us this beautiful statement about the phoenix. In times of doubt and confusion, it symbolizes strength, transformation, and renewal. For only from the ashes of who we were can we rise up to become who we're meant to be. It is the ashes of our human condition, the ashes of our human fear, the ashes of our belief in separation, the ashes of our simply seeking to manage the conditions of our lives that we burn away when we rise together in the spiritual truth. So this month, in the month of January, we're going to talk about 4 different ways that we rise. We rise through spirit, our awareness of that oneness, and how we are individualized expressions of that oneness. to experience our oneness as spirit, as us. We rise through creativity. We have seen over and over and over again this past year how, in creatively engaging with what's going on, we rise above the circumstances and find our way through and find our the possibilities and the potential within what all is going on around us. We rise through spirit. We rise through creativity. We rise through connection, our connection in the oneness and our connection with each other. If 2020 has shown us nothing else, it has shown us how connected we are. Globally, through the pandemic, across the miles, through the internet, all the ways in which we have reached out and touched each other's lives remind us of how connected we are. And it is that connection with spirit and our connection to each other that supports our rising. And we rise through faith, through the practice of these powerful teachings, through the practice of the principles, through the practice of living our faith and walking it. So 2021, let us rise up. Together, we will rise. Lainey's going to come here and remind us a little bit more about that.
Happy New Year, everybody. This is called Rise Up, made famous by Andra Day. You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we can walk it out and move mountains. We can walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, high like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. When the silence isn't quiet and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe, I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet and move mountains. Take it to its feet and move mountains. And I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. All we need is hope, and for that we have each other, and for that we have each other. Oh, we will rise, we will rise, we will rise. Oh, And I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. We will rise 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up high like the waves. We'll rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up and we'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lainey and band. Thank you so much. We'll rise up in spite of the ache for you. For who? For ourselves, for each other, for spirit, for the divine. To keep rising up, finding that place within our consciousness, to rise up. Ernest Holmes says this: we rise. The power behind of all things of itself is of itself without limit. It is all power in us. It becomes what we permit it to be. Our destiny is in our own hands. When we rise to an elevated state of consciousness where we see all things in their completeness and know that an all-wise power is behind it all, we will see that the infinite could wish for us that which it wishes for itself in limitless terms. And so we inspire ourselves by knowing that this power is present right where we are, and it wants nothing but our good, because it is the good as it moves as us in the world. It is the very truth of our nature and of our being. It wants nothing more but to express love and joy and fulfillment and a meaningful, powerful, contributing life. That power connect us to that power, that open us to the possibility that it's there, that gives us the tools to over and over and over and over again remind us that we do not spiritual tools, we can expect that our life moves forward, that our life works itself out in a meaningful way. And that when we practice this work, when we are actively engaged in growing spiritually, in seeking the good, in looking for the love, in being the best that we can be, this is the transformative magic of the spiritual work. And it transforms not only our hearts and our minds, but it transforms our lives. And by doing this work, we should expect to rise. We should expect to rise above the laws of averages, above the conditions of the world. We should expect to rise out of it into that greater experience of life. We rise. And how do we rise? We rise together. Being in a community of practice is a huge deal. Every time that I forget, every time I feel overwhelmed, every time I don't think I can do it, every time I don't know what's needed or wanted from me, every single time, somebody is called into my life to remind me of truth, to lift me up, to encourage me, to help me, to guide me. And the more that I allow that in, the more collectively we support each other. Kathy Ann Lewis says there's faster and greater transformation in community than doing the spiritual work by ourselves. Oh, yes, we can do it by ourselves. But it is in community that we are reminded, lifted, empowered, even when we don't want to hear it or we don't want to practice it. And the truth is that the together isn't just for the community, and it isn't just for our own benefit, right? What we know is that the universal truth is that everything is reciprocal and circular, right? Holmes says there's no individual private good without collective good. And so when I rise, not only is the together the fact that you all can help me rise, that we can help each other rise, but the truth is every time we rise, we are literally lifting consciousness. We are rising up the consciousness of the whole, of all of humanity. We are rising up the possibility that we can move through this pandemic without any more challenges than we already have, that we can move through the situations and circumstances of our lives, that we can not only raise consciousness, but we can then raise the way in which that consciousness shows up in the care of our healthcare workers, in the equity for those who have experienced discrimination, in the care of our planet. We can rise up the consciousness, which then shows up as a new way of being engaged with each other and being in the world. This is what it means when we together we rise. I spent a lot of time thinking about this. We have family members that are healthcare workers and are struggling with this experience. We have community members who have lost many people. We have people in our community who have lost families and jobs and homes. And we have people who have sailed beautifully through this experience, who have used it for deeper spiritual practice, greater creative spiritual unfoldment, finding a whole new way of putting a life together. And really spending time thinking about this and thinking about this theme, Together We Rise. Do you see, it's not about making a living. It's not about having it all. It's not about acquiring more stuff. When we talk about a greater, fuller, richer life, it's not more stuff. It's not more money. It's not, although it may show up that way. It's not about making a living. It's about making a life. A life that is sustainable. A life that is personal joy and powerful contribution. A life that fulfills our soul and allows us to express our gift. A life that allows us to move through the challenges of everyday living, to surmount mountains of obstacles, and that allows us to appreciate those exquisite moments when life is beautiful, perfect, just as it is. I would highly urge you, if you haven't seen it yet, to see the new Disney movie, Soul. It's not about making a living. It's not just about acquiring stuff. It is about making a sustainable, healthy, happy life. And for me to do that in my life, we have to all get to experience and do that in our lives. That's also what it means to create a world that works for everyone and lives that work for each of us. Ernest Holmes says this: everyone represents an individualization of universal wholeness, the love, peace, joy, and freedom of the spirit. Therefore, We have a divine right to be the masters of our own fate. We have a divine right to raise above fear, impoverishment, and disease. We should have confidence that the power of the Spirit expresses through every atom of our being now, in this moment. Our whole year is in service to that. Together we rise.
So we invite you to practice, be present to this moment, to begin this year in a way that truly works for you. And as it works for you, it's going to work for all of us. Together we rise. Let's stay spiritually connected. And we have a way, a new way that you can stay connected with your community members and our ministers. And just we have a new way. So we want to let you know that immediately following the live broadcast,
At
actually at
11:30.
11:30, we have a new Zoom room. It's like fellowship and coffee afterwards. Bring your own snacks, bring your own coffee. The Zoom room link is there. We've also make sure that we send it out to our community and see one another and talk with one another and be with one another. And on top of that, you also have the opportunity to be with our practitioners and have them do those powerful affirmative prayers, those spiritual mind treatments for the sake of your life and the collective life. So you can do a private one-on-one in our Zoom rooms also immediately following this as well. So together we rise. We will see you online until we can physically be together. Take good care, be safe, be well, and be loved.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.